This episode of the Justin Robert Young podcast is brought to you by 316 of 316. You know, all these other podcasts, get them out of the ring. Get them out of the internet. Because I've proved, son, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you ain't got what it takes anymore. You sit there and thump your Bible, you say your prayers, and you didn't get anywhere. Talk about your Psalms. Talk about your John 3:16. Well, JuRY 3:16 says I just talked your ear off. For real.
But that's fine, 'cause you're pretty ugly by most people's standards, but you're alright by mine.
Oh, fuck. Feeling it. Feeling it. From the tips of my toes deep into my bones, I am feeling this episode of the Justin Robert Young podcast. Welcome, 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 one and all, to yet another edition of the internet's only podcast where no one's there to shut me up. My name is Justin Robert Young, and I have traveled the world. Yes, I've been all over this great country, which effectively, for any of us who have been raised in America, constitutes the world. And there, I've had to do the show on the road. I've had to do the show out here in random hotel rooms. I've had to do it with different kinds of equipment. I've done it with different types of solutions. And every time I do it, I just have this warring voice as it speaks and it says in my ear, "Don't you know, little fool, everybody is out here supporting your show. The Justin Robert Young podcast isn't only something for you to get this stuff off your chest. No, no, no. This is for the people. JuRY's for the children. And when I'm on the road, that doesn't mean they should get a subpar show. If anything, for suffering my schedule, there should be a double plus better show. And I fail sometimes with that, trying to get better. But that just means that when I'm back here, like I am, in Oaktown, California, home of the NBA's MVP, Steph Curry. Steph Curry. That's Seth Curry. Seth Rollins is the WWE champion. Although if those two were the same person, it would make me very happy. When I'm back here in Oaktown, I got to really bring it. I got to do the best job that I possibly can for you, the listening audience. So, in that vein, we've got a great one for you. I'm going to tell you about a little bit of my travels this weekend because it was really funny. I'm going to tell you why I am here in Oakland and not in my native Florida. And I'm going to tell you an epic story, the likes of which you've never heard on Night Attack, you've never heard on the Morning Stream, you never heard on the Night Attack albums. You have never heard this story anywhere. It's one of my favorites, and I can't believe I haven't told it on this show until tonight. All that and your emails coming up. As I mentioned, I travel for a living. I work for the Go Game, which is a corporate team building company that requires me to fly a lot. And lately, over the last 2 weeks, I've been on the road quite a bit. I don't even want to pull up the list there, but in the last 2 weeks, it was Washington, D.C. to Phoenix to Oakland, drive to Santa Cruz, drive back, fly to Eden, North Carolina. I was there for 4 days. Get done with that. come back to San Francisco, go to Tampa, come back. Now, Tampa's what I want to talk to you guys about because I had a hell of a time there, and boy, my fucking schedule was insane. Decided to take the red eye into Tampa. Now, let me just explain to you guys what a red eye really means, okay? A red eye means I am buying a freer schedule going from west to east in exchange for a night's sleep. Because you can sleep on airplanes, and boy, fuck, do I do it a lot. But it is not real sleep. You are effectively trading, even if you are getting 5 hours, if you sleep pillar to post from when you get on the airplane until the second you get off, you are really only doing on a nonstop 4 hours and on a connecting flight, maybe a little bit longer, but it's interrupted. So you really, it's effectively, basically imagine a 2-hour nap on a hard couch. That's about the kind of sleep you get. You are still sleeping. Body needs it. It's an important thing, but it's a bad seat. It's hard to really relax unless you're in a lay flat seat in first class. Now, that's a whole different experience. It's better. Like when God jacks off, he thinks, oh my God, this is almost as good as a lay flat seat in first class. That's basically how good it is. When you travel from west to east because of the time zones, you are either taking the red eye and you have a day, or you leave at the earliest time in the morning and you are getting there at sunset. That's just the way it works. So lately, I've been trying to take red eyes going east, and boy, do they suck, because you are really putting yourself at a disadvantage sleep-wise for the rest of the day. And you are really doing yourself a disadvantage if you've scheduled yourself within an inch of your life like I did, and you are triple putting yourself at a disadvantage if you not only don't get much sleep before you leave on the red eye, but you decide to go out and party. And lo and behold, gentle listeners, that is indeed what I did. Because I couldn't resist being in San Francisco. It's a Thursday night. There's a place called the Folsom Street Foundry. And Tuesday and Thursday nights, they have a thing called game night. Bring out a bunch of board games, bring out a bunch of video games. A lot of folks show up and they play Hearthstone. I like to play Hearthstone. So does my buddy Willie Dills Gregory, host of The Instance, and more importantly to the Hearthstone, The Angry Chicken. So I head on down to the Folsom Street Foundry, and I'm hanging out with Dills. There's another dude whose name escapes me, but he is a fine British gentleman. And we were talking and bullshit, and we had a really, really good time. I catch an Uber back to my car. I drive my car down to SFO, get on this flight, and I think I had another glass of wine on the flight, and then I pass out. I wake up in Houston. Now, I'm trying to think of a way to explain this to people who have never done it, okay? You are half asleep. Basically, imagine you were getting a shitty night's sleep. Somebody ran up into your darkened room, turned on all the lights, and forced you out of your bed, made you walk 4 blocks down the road, and then you got another 2 hours of shitty sleep. That's what a connecting situation on a red eye is like. So I connected in and out of Houston both ways. Get on there, get on the flight, get to Tampa. I have, because I've landed at about 10 o'clock in the morning, a couple hours before I can even check into my hotel. Every once in a while, you can call up the hotel and say, hey, I'd like to check in. And that would have been smart. That would have been a really good idea for me to do. It would have been the best idea to just go to the hotel immediately, get 3 hours of sleep. I would have been right as rain. I mean, that would have been a good idea. And on any other week, that would have been a good idea. On most other days, that would have been the best idea. Unfortunately, the Avengers had just come out. So I'm like, I get 3 hours. I'm still functionally awake. let me just go ahead and go see the Avengers. I mean, just a little Avengers won't hurt. Huh? Little Avengers? Ultron, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver. Oh, man. So I go to see the Avengers. Now, I'm also kind of trepidatious because I don't want to be one of those guys who goes to see the Avengers and doesn't like it. And then I'm like, well, fuck, why did I go see it when I was like super sleep deprived? And like, am I going to fall asleep in the middle of the movie? Because I've definitely done that when I'm really tired before. Like, it just seems like a stupid idea, but I'm filled with stupid ideas, and that's kind of my thing. So I go and I see the movie, and I love it. It's a great movie. High recommendation. I'm going to do a spoiler cast with Scott Johnson tomorrow, which we're adding some cool new stuff, by the way. I think we're going to take calls. Because here's my secret little plan. I'm going to let y'all in on this. I really want to turn that show into just a weekly call-in show with me and Scott. Because I think a weekly call-in show with me and Scott, super easy. And zero prep. I fucking hate prep. So I go to see the Avengers. At that point, I'm like, fuck it. All right, I'm going to go back to the hotel. Maybe I'll catch an hour nap because I'm then going to go from St. Petersburg to Tampa, which is across the channel, and go see NXT, the wrestling promotion, with Garrett from the Angry Chicken. Now, you might be saying, Justin, you just hung out with Willie Dills Gregory from the Angry Chicken in San Francisco. You're going to go all the way across the country and hang out with his co-host, Garrett Weinzierl, in Tampa? You're goddamn right I did. I fucking buffed the minion and got my ass from one side of this great country to the other so I could hang out with the two members of the Angry Chicken who have a penis. Unfortunately, Jocelyn was not in town, so I could not hang out with her because she's in Canada. And the Go Game doesn't go to Canada because Canadians don't like Americans taking their gerbs. So I'm fucking tired. But I get done. It's a great time. Hang out with Garrett and his fiance. It's a blast and a half, man. NXT is amazing. Here's another NXT story. So I'm watching NXT. It's super awesome. I'm having the best time. And all of a sudden, there's this running bit throughout the show. One of their top performers, Finn Balor, one of their big good guys, he just gets attacked by two of their big bad guys, Kevin Owens and Tyler Breeze. They make a tag match. Only problem, Finn Balor doesn't have a tag team partner. They keep coming out. Finn's asking everybody. No one's taking him up on the offer. No one wants to stand up to the fucking bullies, Kevin and Tyler. Who will stand up and let them know that their horse shit will not be stood for? Who will stand shoulder to shoulder with the Irish demon Finn Balor? That's what I want to know. So now, there's a bunch of other good guys, and you just kind of figure, okay, it's just going to be one of the other good guys. It's going to be really fun because you don't see them tag up a lot. So they come out right before the match, and they're like, hey, by the way, Sami Zayn, the top good guy, ain't here. Hideo Itami, Finn Balor's old tag team partner, he ain't here neither. Old Finn is up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Oh, wait a minute. Main event starts. This is going to be a 2-on-1 beatdown, the likes of which no one's seen in Tampa, Florida. Kevin Owens comes out. Boo, Kevin. Tyler Breeze comes out. Boo, Tyler. Finn Balor comes out. Yay, Finn. Now, the only thing that would have made this moment better is if the next song that played was one that every listener of this podcast who has listened to the last few weeks would be very well aware of. Unfortunately, it was another song for which he is also known for. But through the curtains comes Mr. Ass, the badass Billy Gunn, the one whose theme song I just broke down on this motherfucking podcast 2 weeks ago. Oh my God, the crowd goes absolutely insane. Now, meanwhile, Billy Gunn is a 51-year-old man. A 51-year-old man who is more athletic and built better than if I spent 4 years doing nothing but working out. This dude is a freak show. He is insane, and he moves just as fast as he did when he was in his prime. Crowd is going absolutely insane. Finn Balor is doing all these moves that Billy Gunn's old tag team partner, the Road Dogg, used to do. He does the shimmy and shake, the little juke step punches to the face. It is a fucking riot. Everyone has a good time. So we go have a nightcap at a cigar place, and we're having a good time. It's about midnight. Maybe 1 o'clock by the time I get back to my hotel room in St. Petersburg. Now, that would be all right, because most Go games start at 1 o'clock the next day. They're an afternoon affair. So I could have gotten a little night's sleep. I've pretty much done all the work on the game prior, so I was prepared for it, except for the fact that the game was not at 1 o'clock. It was rather a 8:30 start time, which means I only had about 5 hours of sleep. Now, this one was in a bed, so glory be, the funk's on me. Keep that funk alive. But it was still like I'm just writing checks that my ass can't cash on this one. Oh, speaking of asses. So we're watching that main event, right? And Finn Balor's in the ring. Billy Gunn's on the ropes. Tyler Breeze starts yelling for Billy Gunn. Get in the ring. Get in the ring. Get in the ring. I scream, "You can't handle that ass, Tyler." Kevin Owens looks back right at me and says, "That makes you sound terrible, by the way." Everybody laughs at me. It was the best day of my life. It was so good. Kevin Owens made a homosexual reference to me, and I was fucking just delighted by it. So I go do the Go game. I go get another hotel after that. I get an actual hour sleep, and then I wake up. Do a little gym, little treadmill, little elliptical. Head on out to Plant City, which is about another half hour out, so I can hang with some friends. And then I come back, and I got to get on a 6 o'clock flight, and that was this morning. This morning, woke up, got on a 6 o'clock flight. And I sit next to this dude in first class, who is, and this is, if you were to write a movie and say a gay guy and a hipster sit down next to each other in first class, that would be the scene. It's me with my beard and my little white patches and in my temples, and then this dude sits down, tight striped shirt, these kind of capri pants on, starts taking selfies on Snapchat. And I look at him and I'm like, I bet you this motherfucker's going to San Francisco. And he probably looked at me and said, bet you this hipster motherfucker's going to San Francisco. Sure enough, we get to San Francisco after connecting in Houston, and we're both at the same fucking baggage claim. It was hilarious. That was my weekend. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Go game and traveling and moving out here to California. But before I do, let me let everybody know that we got another big story coming up, and you can send me all your feedback to justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. That is justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JURY in the subject line. I'm going to just play these random sound effects because I don't know whether or not they are in public domain or not, but here we go. We'll be back. Igloo in the chat room says this is the alternate universe where people talk about the main event not being Manny versus Mayweather. Now, this isn't a sports podcast, but let me just say this. I partly went to my buddy's house in Plant City just to watch the Manny versus Mayweather fight. I'm a real fan of watching boxing. I like boxing. I think it's fun. I think Mayweather is a reprehensible piece of human trash. But I just don't know how many times. It's my fault. It's my fault that every time I watch a Floyd Mayweather fight, it's the most boring waste of my fucking time ever. Oh my God, it is just soul sucking. And he keeps getting my money. Like, there is no other sports experience for which watching somebody is so not rewarding or entertaining, and yet I continue to go back and do it. Like, I don't, and here's why. Here is the thing that Mayweather has done to perfection. He has created a hatred industrial complex. He is such a deplorable human being. And I don't mean the money stuff. I don't mean the spending a bunch of money. I don't mean the calling his crew the money team. I don't mean the carrying, bags of money with him and just throwing it at people and getting what he wants. I'm not talking about any of that. I am talking about the real shit. The fact that, like, he has got several domestic violence charges on his record and he spent time in jail for it. That. Everything that he does, both the contrived, his fucking $1 million man, Ted DiBiase bullshit, and the real, him being a fucking domestic abuser piece of human garbage. All of it, okay? Every single bit of it goes into people like my head who say, I would like to see him get the shit kicked out of him. And so I talk myself in to whoever is going to fight him, and we go and we buy the pay-per-view and we watch it, and then he wins because he fights the fight that only he can win. He's faster than everybody. He ducks and counterpunches, and he never engages. He never looks for a knockout. He never looks to trade in a way that makes it exciting and interesting. He just runs around the ring and keeps other better offensive boxers from really laying any hands on him. And he wins on points because, again, he's faster than everybody. The motherfucker is Quicksilver. It's insane how fast he is. And he really hasn't slowed down in any kind of measurable way that would really make it a fair fight for anybody else going up against him. He's going to retire undefeated, and he's going to retire on a gigantic bet of money because suckers like me keep paying him. So really, as much as I very much think it should be out there that he is a serial abuser, I'm not talking about it anymore. Nope, not anymore. Because in his fucked up world that he's set up, Floyd Money Mayweather, talking about him being a serial abuser puts money in his pocket. The fact that people are upset about him making money means that other people who do care about it, for which I think is the majority of the country, they want to see him get his ass kicked. He deserves to get his ass kicked. He deserves to lose. He deserves to be humbled. And yet, he isn't. He always wins. Everything is a positive for him, even the negative press. So I'm done talking about him. That's my Floyd Mayweather rant. All right. Happier topics. This weekend actually marks the 3rd anniversary of me moving to California. I moved 3 years ago from my then home in Margate, which is just outside of Fort Lauderdale, because I got a job at the Go Game. Somebody hit me up on Twitter this week and said, hey, on the next JuRY Talks, I would like to hear more about the Go Game. I don't talk about the Go Game a lot beyond describing to people why I'm in various places around the country or the world. Not because I don't love it, because I do, but more because I don't want anything that I say to come back on the Go Game. I very much pride myself on being able to say anything I want. It is the life I have chosen to live, and it is, thankfully, the content for which people want to hear from me. They want to hear me talk about challenging and weird subjects. Because otherwise, what the fuck else am I going to talk about? Same shit everybody else is talking about? No. I feel like I have an even-handed enough perspective that I can talk about some weird stuff. Now, with that means I always take on the possibility that I'm going to say something really fucked up. And the last thing I want is for me to say something really fucked up and somebody to say, oh, I should punish this guy by taking it either back to the Go Game or back to the Go Game clients for which I've done work for. Or will do work in the future. So I don't talk about it a lot for that reason, because I don't want the Go Game to suffer for anything that I say in my own free time. But I do want to take this time to just talk about the Go Game as a concept. Go Game was founded by two men, Finn Kelly and Ian Fraser. They, this was over like 10 years ago. They founded this company because Ian had a dream. Ian had a dream about a scavenger hunt where you would listen to instructions and you would be able to have comm chatter in an earpiece, and you would go to phones and get new mission prompts. So the company that they started was fascinating and rad. And in San Francisco, it's hard to describe for people outside of this city, but there are a lot of really weird sub-niches that are actually really vibrant, and one of them is adult scavenger hunts. People fucking love adult scavenger hunts out here. It is a thing. There are big ones for which thousands of people take time out of their day to participate in. It ain't no joke. So from that came the Go Game. They did a bunch of stuff that was out for the public, and then at some point it became obvious that the way that you could really make money on it and make a living off it was to be a corporate team building. And if history were just a flat line, that's kind of what it would be. It would probably just be a thing that booked, one or two things a month and would have made money. Probably could have made enough money for Finn and Ian to live off of, and they would have been working whenever there was something that booked. But a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. And companies in and around San Francisco all of a sudden weren't so much just regular-ass companies anymore. They weren't just successful companies. They were the most successful companies in the world. They became the most exciting companies. They became the companies that were forming the new paradigm of what business looked like. Apple, Google, Facebook, Genentech, Nike, Amazon. All of a sudden, the West Coast really exploded in terms of business culture, something that previous to that had really been dominated by the East Coast. And with it came West Coast sensibilities. On the West Coast, companies get team building for every element of their company. There's really, the engineers get it. The mailroom gets it. The janitorial staff gets it. Everybody gets team building. On the East Coast, and this is still what it is, pretty much it's interns and salespeople. They're the only people who really get team building. I have no idea why. That's just how it is. So as these West Coast companies start to boom, they start to really become this major force, all of a sudden, everybody across the country looks at them and says, oh shit, we should get this team building. So they start searching for team building. They find the Go Game. The Go Game's got Apple, Google, Facebook, Nike, Amazon, Genentech listed right there on their website because we have done a bazillion games for them. And so now, really, really, really reserved companies, blue-collar companies. The game I did in Eden, North Carolina were for fucking boiler mechanics. That shit is so blue-collar that if you fucking washed it out, you would think that a Smurf got murdered. Now all of a sudden they're doing the same shit that these fucking hoity-toity tech companies out here on the flippy-dippy West Coast were spending cash on. And the Go Game became a very successful company. And that plays a part in why I moved out, but it's not why. I moved out because I knew Brett. Brett was going through a real transition after he left Amtrekker. He very much was kind of the mind that and this is kind of his story to tell. This is just my interpretation of it, but as his friend, that, there was just this major element of his life that had come to a close, that had run its course. But what was next really wasn't all that clear. You know, Brett's a guy who's extraordinarily ambitious, has a really high motor, and is not, idle hands are the devil's workplace with that guy. And between Amtrekker and the Go Game, man, there were a lot of idle hands. It was something that, I think was driving him slowly crazy. So he gets his Go Game gig, and all of a sudden, Brett isn't only happier than I'd ever seen him before. He is more productive than I'd ever seen him before. In the year that he had the Go Game, where he had less time, theoretically, finished a comic book, he did an app, dude was fucking on it. So now, parallel timeline, I'm working in Florida with Andrew, and things are going really well. We had done a few TV pilots that had kind of gone nowhere, but what was the big game changer was publishing. Andrew's self-publishing stuff was really blowing up. He had an agent. He had made some money on movie rights. That was the future. All of a sudden, Game On comes along. Twit wants to do a gaming show. They get Brian. They get Veronica. They're like, all right, well, we need a writer. And Brian suggests me. I take the gig. So I enter into negotiations with Lisa. And she offers me what was a pretty good amount of fucking money to write video game stuff, which basically just took me 2 hours a week. I'm like, rad. That's awesome. And I owe it to them for taking the chance on me. That's the thing that really sucks. For all the shit that got nasty between us and Twit, it's just hard for me to really put into words how much, they gave me a shot. So Game On comes along. There's a bunch of problems with it. Game On ends. But I'd gotten really used to that second check. I'd gotten really used to that money. So I have this meeting with Andrew, and I even forget what it's about, but it doesn't go well. Next thing you know, I'll never forget where I am. I'm driving down Andrews Road. Hit Lions. That might not work. I do know where I am visual. Anyway, I hit Lions Road, and next thing you know, I get a text from Brett that says, we got an opening at the Go Game. Is there any world in which you'd be interested putting on the orange jumpsuit? So between having that bad meeting with Andrew, getting that text message, and just kind of feeling like I needed a change, I get on the phone and I talk to Brett. And again, what's going through my mind isn't so much, I need to leave. Because it was going to hurt to leave. It was going to really, really hurt to leave. What was going through my mind was, I got to take the next step. I got to leave the nest. At that point, I was 27 or 28, because I just turned 28. And it was just, sink or swim time for me. I needed to get out of Florida. I needed to go and do my own thing. I needed to make my own mark. Now, I almost didn't take the job for this reason. I didn't want a regular gig because that wasn't exactly the life I was trying to live. So I made a commitment to myself that through the interview, I would be nice, I'd be cordial, I would be as charming as I would normally be, but I wasn't going to suck anyone's dick for this job. Literally or figuratively. I wasn't going to pretend I was somebody that I wasn't. I was just going to be a friendly version of me, but I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not going to hide how much the podcasting means to me, not going to hide how much the blogging means to me, not going to hide how much I am a self-motivated person, not going to hide the fact that I want to do I believe that the sign of productive, happy people is that they are productive more often during the day and they don't shut their brains off before 9 and after 5. Also, I don't want to work a 9-to-5 job, which thankfully they never asked me to. But I get it. And I have to kind of realize, This means leaving. This means leaving my family. This means leaving my friends. And it means going to a job where people take taxes out of your check. This ain't the Wild West no more. This is an actual gig. Now, thankfully, the Go game has been far less of everything I would fear about an actual gig. It is really it is and has been a remarkable experience, and without it, I wouldn't get to do stuff like see, NXT and Garrett, and then go see the Floyd Manny fight, with a friend of mine that I've known since college. I wouldn't be going to Austin tomorrow and doing a live show with Brian on Tuesday. This opportunity has been tremendous. And this, I just wanted to kind of fill out for everybody where I am with that part of my life. Because I know I kind of allude to it a lot, but a lot of people don't know how much it means to me. And it is something that if you work at a company that is looking for team building, your old pal Justin ain't going to try and sell you a fucking bill of goods, all right? It's a good game. It's really fun. It's something that I can do. Rarely can you say that I do corporate team building and I get to keep my soul, but it's exactly what I get to do. I get to really look at everybody in the eye and say, I'm really proud of what I did today, and I'm happy to make money for this company. We'll be right back with one of the best stories I've ever told.
All right, David.
Follow-up questions here in the chat room. Am I an employee or a contractor? I am a full-time employee. I get benefits. Crunchy asks if I'm in Austin tomorrow, do I want to go to Blazer Tag? Unfortunately, I will have no time to do anything fun. However, since I know Crunchy is in Dallas, I will be up there the day after I leave Austin. I come to Texas and Austin, I leave out of Dallas. So I know either Wednesday or Thursday night, I'm definitely going out to Deep Ellum. So if you want to come out to Deep Ellum, then that would be the best time to do that. All right. Let me tell y'all a story. I went to go visit my friend Drew out there in Plant City, and it reminded me of some fun times that I used to have in Orlando. Now, let me bring y'all back, way back into time. Well, the year was 2002. I was just a young lad. I had just finished my first year at Syracuse University. The really ambitious in my newspaper field were out doing their first internships. I, dear friends, was not such an ambitious lad. No. Instead, I wanted to go down to Orlando, where all my friends were going to school in the University of Central Florida, and just party my face off the entire summer. Now, here's the problem. To party your face off, you kind of need money. So I decided I was going to get a job. The only problem is that you got a hard time trying to find a job when you don't live in that city and you don't know anybody and you already got a bunch of students that are looking for work. So I lied. I went to a Bennigan's and I told them that I was at Syracuse, but I was transferring to UCF at the end of the summer. So I was looking for a gig and they hired me. Rad. Awesome. I was going to be living in a spare bedroom. It was a 4-bedroom place, 4-bedroom kind of apartment that I was going to take one of the bedrooms because one of the guys who was transferring down to UCF from FSU in Tallahassee wasn't going to be there until the end of the summer. So it's like the first weekend that we're there. Buddy Ryan, who is going to be living in his room, comes on down. We have a fucking pisser of a party that just is awesome. Everyone's having a great time. It was so good that Ryan decided, fuck this summer school class I'm taking at FSU. I'm going to take my room down here in UCF for this party summer. Awesome. Except not awesome, because now I need to live on a couch. Now, here's a fact that I'm going to tell you that I bring up every time I tell this story because A, it's true, and B, I love rubbing it in everybody's face. I was the only person in that house with a job. 4 rooms, 1 guy on the couch. Only one of them had any kind of job. Now, that is relevant to this story because in a party house, the biggest drawback of the guy who sleeps on the couch is that the guy who sleeps on the couch cannot go to sleep until everyone's done partying. And that, my friends, is very often well late into the night. So there were times when, let's say, I would be up until some ridiculous hour of the night and then have to wake up super early to open the store and open this Bennigan's. And then I would work a double and close it. This would happen periodically. It was kind of frustrating after a while. So put a pin in that. Here's another element of this house. We were really into beer pong. Believe it or not, these kids had never heard about beer pong in the way that I had seen it played up in Syracuse. Now, I don't blame them because I hadn't fucking heard about it until I played it up in Syracuse my own damn self. Kids weren't playing it in high school. It seemed to be a more civilized weapon for a more civilized age. So, I come back and bring down the stone tablets and let everybody know how this game is played. And boy, does it catch on. This shit is like fucking Beatlemania. All of a sudden, all we can do is play fucking beer pong. It will surprise none of you that this immediately became an unhealthy addiction. Because these friends of mine are really cool guys, but they are smart enough to be dangerous. They are monkeys with machine guns. It is hard to put something in their hands and have it not become something that will be used unhealthily. So instead of beer pong just being a thing that we do when a bunch of us got together, it instead became the main function of our dining room table. Now you might say, you're kids, you played beer pong. I played beer pong when I was a kid. Yeah. But did you start to keep stats? Oh. Did you start to keep win-loss records? Did you start to keep shooting percentage numbers? Did you have belts? Oh yeah. When I say unhealthy, I don't mean a Twinkie every here and again. I mean heroin unhealthy. I mean we are lying in a shooting gallery while our friends and family call our cell phone, which is dead, next to us. That is the level of unhealthy that I am talking about with beer pong. We never got physical belts, but we did have titles. We had tag titles. We had a heavyweight championship. Every night, and I mean every night, without fail, there would be a moment of negotiation where whoever was the champion or the tag champions would have the other people in the house badgering them for a title shot. This was pervasive. Absolutely. We go to see a movie. All of a sudden, hey, I'll buy everybody's ticket. Except for you, unless you give me a title shot when we get back. Yeah. It became serious motherfucking business. So let's weave our two strands together. One night, I wake up fucking super early after a super late night, and I work a double, and then I come back. And I am fucking just annoyed that another fucking party is going on. Now, at this point, my buddy Ryan, who I said was the guy who moved in that forced me down on the couch, he happened to be the heavyweight champion at the time. The other players in this story, let's just say there's one that I will call, for the sake of this experience, Aloysius. So, Aloysius believes that he is owed a title shot. So he plays, and he loses. Then he plays, and he loses again. So then he gets angry, and he drinks more. He gets really, 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 really wasted. At which point, he starts becoming really disruptive and violent. I forget if this was at this point or another point, but there was one time when he got so angry he was stomping around that he stomped his foot into a mop bucket and did a goofy style like, and, like, fell back, and then like the bucket landed on him. It was really funny. But this particular night, he just will not give it up. Give me a title shot. Give me a title shot. Give me a title shot. Won't happen. He already got 2 of them. You're not going to get a third one. There's other contenders out there. She's like, fuck it, man, I'm going to sleep. So him and his then girlfriend at the time go up to go to sleep. We're playing around. Bam, bam, bam. All of a sudden, we hear loud noises upstairs. So we run up to see what's happened. I mean, God forbid, the worst is going through our heads. He was super shit-faced. What if he got violent with his girlfriend? That's something that we need to put a stop to immediately. So we fucking bang on the door. Rachel opens it. She looks fine. And she just looks at me and everybody else that is up there and is like, ugh. Just deflated. Like a balloon being released at the stem. Ugh. So we walk in, and there's Aloysius sitting on the floor with all of the fixtures in his bathroom ripped out. He's got pants on, no shirt. Now, he looks at me, and he says, man, I get so angry. Feel like the Incredible Hulk. Just so angry. I'm like, all right, man, whatever. Come downstairs, smoke a cigarette, chill out, and then go back up to sleep. So he gets down, sits on the stoop, and he starts fucking yelling about a title shot. He starts yelling about a fucking title shot again. To which point, I get a little fucking upset. I get a little fucking annoyed. So at that point, we have a camcorder. And it's on this camcorder that I start interviewing Anthony. Start interviewing him. Hey, man, you really want a title shot? I want a title shot. Well, you know what you would have to do to get a title shot. What? Well, I mean, you know, it's pretty obvious what you would have to do to get a title shot. I say Anthony, I meant Aloysius. That cigarette, you got to put it out on your balls. Now, that was just me saying a thing. I just said it to see how it would be reacted to. And boy, was I surprised when Aloysius looked at me as if I had just asked him for his keys to go on a beer run. It is the most docile, brontosaurus-like, Okay, yeah. Pulls off his pants, revealing his dick and balls. It is at this point that, much like, go ahead and Google or YouTube Seth Rollins running down to cash in his Money in the Bank at this year's WrestleMania. Rachel, his girlfriend at the time, comes scampering down to fucking like, nope. You are not putting a cigarette out on your balls. This is not happening. You are not doing it. You are not doing it. He's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Starts getting into a fight with her. What do you mean? What do you mean? So I forget what I told him, but I think I just yelled something, and it was probably horrifyingly offensive. But he starts chasing me naked around the neighborhood. This is all on video, by the way. I am running away from him while a naked Aloysius scampers through this college housing complex. Now, meanwhile, this is like a Thursday night, which for college kids is something where people are out all the time. We're running by barbecues, other parties, people shooting the shit on their stoops. It is just like he is this fucking naked white boy meteor just streaking, a comet of dick, balls, and butt fucking streaking through this neighborhood. And I'm trying to catch it with the fucking camcorder pointed back behind me. So we finally get back to the area, to the house, at which point his girlfriend had figured out the magic words to calm him down. Aloysius, champions wear pants. Champions wear pants. And it is with that the Hulk became Bruce Banner. He shrunk down. His dick and balls, became a normal size again. And he said, motherfucker ain't above pants. And grabbed his pants and put them on. Champions wear pants. And you want to know what? Those are some motherfucking words to live by. Champions do wear pants. All of them. You've never seen somebody accepting an MVP award after their team has come in with and vanquished all foes with their fucking dick and balls hanging out. You have not seen the women's soccer team accept an award with their vages on display. Nay, nay, nay. Champions wear pants. And if you ever doubt it, then just think of that white, naked comet of jiggling balls, butt, and penis. And you will know in your heart that it is absolutely true. Champions wear pants. Back with your email after this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to write this show, it is justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. That is justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Check. All right. Where'd I drop off? Well, I was saying my email address. Poop. All right. Well, I'll remember to cut this out, except for the YouTube. You get all of it. Wink. This email comes in from Waffleophagus. Waffleophagus writes, I have two situations that kind of boil down to the same issue. How do I reconnect with people that I haven't spoken to in years? The first situation is an old high school crush. I randomly had a dream with her in it, completely non-sexual. In fact, she was in the mafia and prevented a hit on me. It was a strange one. And it made me curious to know what she was up to. Still have some mutual friends on Facebook, so she was easy to find. I would very much like to get in touch with her, but the problem is, should I? And if so, how should I go about it? I both want to get in contact with her as a friend, but at the same time, there is a part of me that still holds a torch for her. And then he also goes on to say that he has a friend of his that could be a good business contact. All right. So here is the deal. If this is the man you want to be, Waffleophagus, then this is not a case-by-case problem. This is a lifestyle choice for you. You just need to be the guy that talks to people. Because it sounds like you want to be that guy. You want to be about that life. However, you just are a little weird about it. You're worrying that you're going to say something odd. The only way you're going to get over that is by saying a lot of things. So make a point to make friends with people. Make a point to talk to the person who works at your local Taco Bell. Talk to the person that you used to go to high school with. Talk to your mother's friends. Talk to anybody that you can. Because the more you talk to people, the more you'll realize that your apprehension about it is really just apprehension on how to go about it. Because I got news for you. Everybody wants something from somebody professionally. Everybody probably wanted to fuck everybody at some point. Does that make the world stop? No. I mean, you always want to fuck your attractive friends. That's just part of life. Whether you should or do is a different story. Now, if you would like to make this person more than a friend, then really you only have one choice. You kind of got to talk to him. Like, doesn't work like that otherwise. Montel wrote me about being a youth minister. You know that this is a personal friend or a personal favorite topic of mine because I think youth ministers are just the funniest people. One night during youth group, I had just finished preaching this powerful and emotional lesson on serving God with your whole heart. I'm one of those guys that gets pumped when I speak. It's what I live for. So I was just bringing it, and the students were responding. It was tight. Oh, my God. This is such a youth minister way to say it. I love when youth ministers say things like tight. At the end of the lesson, we threw on some music, and the teens talked to each other about what they were learning in the lesson. I walked around the youth room like I normally would, making sure that all the kids were accounted for and whatnot, and realized that I was missing 2 students. For the sake of the story, we'll call them Billy and Susie. Billy was one of those kids that dates around a lot, very charismatic and charming. The ladies dug him. Susie was an emotional girl that was looking for attention from any boy she could. Literally, the worst 2 students to have gone missing went missing together. I tell the volunteers what up, tell them that I'm going to go looking for them, and for one of the head volunteers to take over the meeting. I go for a walk around the church building, checking the offices, the storage rooms, the closets, and finally at the end of a dark hallway, I see light coming from the doorway. Oh, shit. I walk up to the door, and I hear movement coming from the room, and kissing. Oh, shit. Open the door, and I see Billy with his hands up Susie's shirt. They freaked the crap out, stammered out an apology, and I had both of them come to my office with me. The basic conversation was, I'm not mad at you guys, but this is totally not cool, especially at your age, especially at a church. I didn't tell their parents or anything. It was harmless, in my opinion, but I threatened to if I caught them doing it again. Neither of them came back for a while, and when they did, it was awkward. Also, did I mention they were in 8th grade? Freaking 8th grade. I don't know where Montel was a youth minister, but 8th grade was not. I knew girls that were pregnant in 8th grade. The first time I remember people having girlfriends was 5th grade. Middle school was definitely a time for fucking that kind of shit. 8th grade, yeah, I don't know. You want to know what? I don't find 8th grade to be weird. Like, I knew people that were, like, making out and grabbing titties in church in 8th grade. And Shiflock says in the chat room, hello, Florida. That was indeed Florida as fuck. All right. Here's the final email of the night. It comes from Russell. And again, listen, Montel is on a mission from God to spread his word. I am on a mission to heal the internet. Yes, I am here to heal the divides for which keep us apart. Break the chains of division so we can unite as friends and fellows of people who get along. This came to light a few weeks ago when we had maybe one of the first angry emails to this here program about an emailer who wrote in by the name of NoFrack. NoFrack was a fan of motherfucking Mike Pence, the Indiana governor, who recently got into a big thing with this whole anti-gay legislation, and NoFrack was defending it and explaining it. Russell wrote in, said, fuck this guy. So I challenged both of them. I said, hey, listen, y'all got a little homework right now. Outside of politics, list the shit that you are into. We're going to see how much you guys have in common. So if you ever run into each other, you can now say, hey, we know we violently disagree about politics, but that's only one of like 10 things that if we listed 10 things, we'd agree on 9. So Russell wrote back after NoFrack listed his list of shit that he liked. He wrote back with what he also enjoys. Hey, JuRY, of the things NoFrack mentioned, we have a number of them in common. We both enjoy programming. Lately, I do mostly SQL and .NET work, as I work as a data migration developer. I worked as a data migration developer in college. I did a project presentation on the ACCA Student Symposium on Python. I also enjoy science fiction and fantasy, including several of the things he mentioned. I'm not huge into classic literature, but I've read my fair share and also love my entertainment in large universes. We also share in common your podcast, JuRY, Night Attack, Weird Things, possibly more than that as well. I've never gotten big into magic, but one of my coworkers I like does small magic tricks for each other to pass the time. For a while, I played board games every Thursday during lunch with my coworkers, and lately, we've been going out to lunch instead. We also share an enjoyment of old radio shows. Russ, did you guys just become best friends? I think so. If you want to find more on this show, you can do so by downloading it on Stitcher, iTunes, or some other shit. Also, make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe. Email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line, JuRY. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, as well as Periscope at JustinRYoung. And you can hashtag join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. Fun facts. I think I'm going to do a fun little project that I hope to just do it during the week. I don't want it to be a big project. I want it to be a quick project. Keep an eye out for that. But folks, if you're contemplating whether or not champions wear pants, on whether or not to take the next step in your life, on whether or not Mr. Ass should have come out to his own theme song or D-Generation X's, and you find yourself hopeless, well then, friends, I want you to remember that it is the dulcet tones of Justin Robert Young who reminded you to please don't die. Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.